Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Total Football Talk. Thanks for joining me. As always, we're going to look at all of this news, transfer news surrounding Manchester United, and we have tons of news to get through this morning, which is absolutely fantastic. We are 2 days away from game day again. Fulham coming up at the weekend, so we think get hopefully back on track. We need to do what we did against Arsenal, but we need a victory. But we're going to look at the latest news coming out, and that will look at sort of headlines to do with Angelo Stiller from Stuttgart that Manchester United are currently looking at. What type of midfielder is he? Would he fit Ruben Amorim's system? Is he going to help bolster us? And is he an alternative to Baliba? So we'll look at that. We'll also look at what's being said about Rasmus Hojlund, Garnacho, Sancho, and a little bit on JJ Gabriel, who's making massive waves at the minute. And then just a little bit about the squad overall and how things are being perceived from within the group. But we will look at the top headlines, and that is currently that Manchester United, one of the midfielders on their list of options is Stuttgart's Angelo Stiller. No guarantees anything's going to develop or that the midfielder will arrive, but internal discussions are taking place over different targets. Stiller is up for discussion, and now will decide whether Manchester United will decide whether to sign the midfielder before the window shuts. So I think what we're looking at here is, from my point of view, we are talking about midfielders, which is great. We do need to look at midfielders, very, very important at this particular stage, because we've seen in the first game, and we know with the players that we have available to us that the squad, especially in the midfield in particular, is not going to be strong enough to carry out what Ruben Amorim wants. So what type of player is Angelo Stiller? He's been likened to the likes of Michael Carrick or a Tony Cruz, a deep lying midfielder that can, get out of tight spaces really quickly, can progress the ball really well forward. But there's certain elements to his game that I haven't seen enough of yet, so I don't know whether he is that all action style, gets up and down the pitch. I don't know if he's got the energy that Ruben Amorim will want to make sure that he has kind of the all round capabilities to produce what we need in that particular midfield. Because yes, he does look quite accomplished. He is someone who has got room for development, but is he going to be the person that we need to help drive us forward? I think, is it a case of Stiller or nobody? I would probably take Stiller. I believe we can get him on a reasonable fee, and we're not going to break the bank to get him. And he comes from the German league, which is probably the most equivalent league to ours at the minute, that allows us to bring in players that maybe could adapt. We've obviously seen people who haven't been able to adapt, but there have been quite a few German players who've come from the German league, from the Bundesliga, that have been able to adapt. Sancho is one of the ones that hasn't really, but you look at others that have gone on and done well, likes of Haaland, the likes of Ekitike, who's done quite well with Liverpool, as we've seen already. Mamouche, who's done really well for Manchester City. He looks like a quality player. And, there are others. So I think the Bundesliga could be an interesting choice for Manchester United to pick a player up from and help bolster our midfield, because it is something that we really do need. But as I said, he's not the all action Baliba type player. Baliba, I think, it's like a one off. I actually think now we may have missed the boat. I'm hoping I'm wrong on that. Maybe we will go back in for him next year, but he's going to cost northwards of over 100 million, maybe 120, which is crazy for a midfielder. But he is maybe a generational talent, so I suppose that's what it's going to cost. That's where we are with Stiller. So that was Sam C. Or sorry, that was Ben Jacobs kind of picking up on what Sam C said. And Indy Kyla, who's been very good, has also said that apparently United's Stiller's agent met Manchester United officials in London yesterday. That was the day before, and talks are in the early stages of negotiations, or the early stages. So that was that little bit of information coming from Indy Kyla, who's been very good this particular transfer window. See him on X. He has some really good stuff there. So, obviously we are being linked with midfielders. We've been linked with the Seville midfielder. His name's gone straight out of my head. French lad, Agomi. But apparently, from what Ben Jacobs is saying about that, they're very tentative links at the minute. There's nothing strong. We haven't moved anything, even though there is a release clause of about 35, 36 million pound. We haven't actually moved for him yet. We are still trying to figure out what our options are going to be. I think we're running out of time. There's 9 days, 10 days left in the transfer window. That's not a lot. Maybe 10 days, including today. That's not a lot of time the clock's ticking, and we still have to get rid of all the other players, including Rasmus, who we will look at. But get your thoughts in below. What do you guys think? Do you think Stiller would be a good choice? Have you seen him play? Have you got any comments in below that you'd like to see, or you'd like to drop me to let me know what type of player he is and whether he would fit Ruben Amorim's system, and potentially could he fit into the Premier League? I'd love to know what you good people out there think. Also, guys, thank you very much for joining me. If you're enjoying the content, please, if you could hit the old like button, the old thumbs up button, and if you could subscribe, that would be great. Really helps the channel out. Really appreciate it. And yeah, get your comments in below. When you're subscribed, you can get the comments in below, and we can we can have conversation. Okay, let's move it on to the next little bit in regards to Napoli and Rasmus Hojlund. And this was news that was kind of been floating around for a day or two now. Napoli are opening to including obligation to buy in a loan deal for Rasmus Hojlund, according to Sky Italy. AC Milan failed to convince Hojlund to join them because they were only offering a loan with an option to buy. We wanted more certainty over his future. Manchester United, clearly, with Rasmus Hojlund being, left out of the squad at the weekend, he didn't even make the bench. He is clearly going to be moved on. Now, he's been very professional about it. He's got his head down. He's still working hard. I'm not actually sure if he's training with the main group at the minute, but Manchester United do want to move him on. They brought Sesko in. They've only one game a week. I think Sesko's going to play the majority of this particular season. Xerxes probably going to be his replacement when he comes off. And maybe they'll have a bit of rotation. Now, we know there was interest in Xerxes from other clubs around Europe, but Manchester United have kind of sort of brushed them off and went, no, we're not going to look at that. We're going to keep Xerxes because we believe there is a talent there. Obviously, Sesko is another one who is, hopefully the two of them can fight it out for the top position. And hopefully they can, give us most than what we need. But said, unfortunately for Rasmus, it looks like maybe his time at Manchester United is up. Young player, did well in his first season, struggled in the second. I still believe there's a talent in there. I still think if he goes to Napoli, reigning champions of Italy, probably will have another very good season this year, back in the Champions League. I think Rasmus could go there, and if he does go there, could do very, very well, and I wish him all the best. And I think that's where we are with Rasmus Hojlund at the minute, which is a bit unfortunate it hasn't worked out for him, but maybe it is time for him to move on and look at other options. And obviously what we need is we needed for PSR, we need to be able to clear the books. So we need a particular amount of money, a set fee, a loan fee with an obligation to buy, maybe next year. Not ideal for us right now because we do need to bring players in now, but we know that money's coming in next year. Maybe we can work accordingly and bring in a player this particular in this window, which maybe eats into the budget for next year, but I think it's maybe more, priority based that we get a midfielder in and a goalkeeper. But unfortunately, the goalkeeper, I'm not sure where we are with that. Now, this is what Fabrizio Romano has been saying about the freedom fighter, old Jadon Sancho. And Fabrizio Romano and Jadon Sancho's position over the Roma move. Manchester United would like to take off. Manchester United would take the offer from Roma. It's clear since day one. It's clear since 1 week ago. £20 million plus loan obligation for United is okay. Sancho said no to Roma on Monday, and is left that Sancho is still not giving a different indication about that. Jadon Sancho, I don't know you as a person. All I can see is the footballer who hasn't been able to live up to the price tag, and you've left us very, very frustrated as a fan base. You clearly have talent. I don't know what you're doing with it. I don't know why you want to play football, but I totally understand the fact that you don't want to give up your money, and that your contract is your contract, and you've got every right to do with what you want, because the club, in their rights, gave you a contract that was probably the wrong contract. Now, all I would say is I would just like to think the lad would want to play some football, and that there is a way of getting the deal done to get the lad out, back playing, putting a smile on his face, getting himself back into a position where he can enjoy what he does for a living, and make the most of what he has left in his career. Still got plenty of years ahead of him, still will do very well, still will earn a lot of money. I just prefer if the headache of Jadon Sancho was away from Manchester United, and we were actually to be able to, even to recoup a little bit of money for him would be quite useful at this stage, but I'm not entirely sure whether that's going to happen. I just think he may just sit in his contract for a year, run it down, not play any football, and then move next year and probably do quite well. Apparently there was news of Bayern Munich coming in for him, taking a look at him. Obviously he's done well with Dortmund in the Bundesliga before, so they know that he's capable of doing it in that league. But whether Jadon Sancho wants to, even consider that at this particular stage, I do not know. Now, there was some news coming in about Manchester United are hopeful after Tottenham failing with Eze that they will enter the race to sign Alejandro Garnacho and provide competition for Chelsea. Now, this would obviously create a bidding war, which would be perfect for Manchester United if Spurs did come on from. Now, I don't know if Spurs will want to, because obviously they've lost Eze in a transfer battle with Arsenal. Arsenal swooped out of nowhere, took him off Spurs. So Spurs have to look for an alternative. I believe Garnacho, he does want to potentially stay. Obviously, he said he wanted to play in the Champions League. Spurs have Champions League football. And, I actually think under Thomas Frank, they actually will be a much better team. So, interesting to see where he goes. And would he fit a Thomas Frank system? He probably would. Playing on the wing, he probably would suit it. That's where we are with Garnacho, I hope. But as I said, the clock's ticking, we're running out of time. We really need this to pick up pace, and that we can get a bidding war going between Sancho and Chelsea and Spurs, and hopefully we can get that price value up, because we can't be accepting 25-30 million for a player who's worth a lot more. Last two quick bits of news. 14-year-old winger JJ Gabriel has been told he will train with Ruben Amorim's first team at times this season. Now, JJ Gabriel is someone I've mentioned before. He's ripping it up. He's been playing for the under-18s. He's been playing for the under-19s. I've watched some videos of him. The kid has unbelievable talent, unbelievable, skill, and is a massive hope for Manchester United going forward. I don't want to call him the next X, Y, and Z. I just hope the kid continues to prosper in the leagues, in whatever system he's playing in, whatever age group he's playing in. Just keep grounded, keep going, kid, and hopefully we'll see you in the first team in a couple of years. And if you carry on with all that talent, who knows, anything's possible. But yeah, JJ Gabriel making big waves. As I said, don't want to build him up too much, but the kid is looking like a very, very good talent at this particular stage. And this was just the final story. And this is just regard to the unity within the team. Apparently the mindset and spirit of Manchester United is said to be at the best it's been in years. Ruben Amorim and the club hierarchy have worked throughout the summer to instill this optimism is high for the season. With club comes first mentality, now central to Manchester United's culture. I think Ruben Amorim has done a lot behind the scenes. I think the club have done a lot. The training ground, the way the money's been spent on that. There's a lot of things changing behind the scenes for Manchester United. But ultimately, we need to start to see these things changing on the pitch. Yes, we lost to Arsenal, but it was an encouraging performance. We can't have an encouraging performance against Fulham at the weekend and lose again. Otherwise, all that optimism and encouragement will disappear rapidly, and the fans will be on Ruben Amorim's back. He's got to find a way to start winning games while playing the football that he wants to play somehow. We need a bit of luck, maybe. We need to score a few goals. We need to take our chances. All those things are vitally important going forward. But there is positivity. Let's keep an eye out on the midfielder over the next sort of 3 or 4 days, and then see if there's any move on the goalkeeper. Final little bit, Sammy Lamens, apparently the goalkeeper of the United, looking at City are not going to take Donnarumma from what it looks like, from what Fabrizio Romano was saying, and he may go to City now, so we might lose out on that target. So we'll have to see whether there's any other alternatives. But thank you very much for joining me this morning. I'm Keith, and you've stuck around to the end. You're an absolute legend. Thank you very much. And I will get back to you tomorrow with some more info and headlines on Manchester United, because it's coming. Strap yourself in. The next 9 days are going to be very, very interesting. Okay, over and out.